Presented by Listen Headlines. Latest financial news from trusted sources.
New York Times Business. November 16, 1922 America New York, U.S. to buy enough of Pfizer's COVID antiviral pills for 10 million people. The antiviral drugs have helped inspire hope among senior administration officials that the United States will be able to curb the devastating toll from the Delta variant. Pfizer on Tuesday applied for federal authorization of its COVID-19 pill on an emergency basis.
Forex Live. November 16, 1910 America New York, New Zealand to open domestic travel to and from Auckland from December 15. For vaccinated travelers and those with a negative COVID-19 test.
BBC News Business. November 16, 1906 America New York, Clark's agrees to mediation in fire-and-rehire strike. Talks begin today at Conciliation Service ACAs as shoe warehouse dispute enters 7th week.
Daily FX Market News. November 16, 1900 America New York, AUD, USD eyes Australian wage data after US dollar strengthens on retail sales. AUD, USD fell overnight after a better-than-expected US retail sales report lifted Treasury yields. Meanwhile, natural gas prices surged following a regulatory halt of Europe's Nord Stream 2 pipeline.
Forex Live. November 16, 1851 America New York, Japan core machinery orders for September 0.0% meter per meter, expected 1.8%. Japan core machinery orders for September 0.0% meter per meter and 12.5% Why a big miss for the machine order data. Expectations are that Japan's economic performance will improve for the rest of Q4 as it emerges from coronavirus restrictions. Forex Live. November 16, 1850 America New York, Japan trade balance for October Y-67.4 BN, expected Y-310 BN. Japan trade balance for October Y-67.4 BN trade balance adjusted Y-445 BN exports 9.4% Y imports 26.7% Y exports and imports both miss in the month. Auto exports suffered due to the well-known supply constraints.
New York Times Business. November 16, 1846 America New York, Biden sells infrastructure improvements as a way to counter China. Spending on roads, broadband internet and more will help revitalize U.S. competitiveness against its top economic adversary, the president says. President Biden visited Woodstock, NH, on Tuesday.
Forex Live. November 16, 1831 America New York, Australia, Westpac leading indicator for October 0.16% meter per meter, prior minus 0.02%. Barely any change following last month's barely any change. From the WPAC report, in a very brief summary.
Wall Street Journal U.S. Business. November 16, 1821 America New York, biotech investor describes efforts to vet Theranos. Brian Grossman told jurors in the criminal fraud trial of Elizabeth Holmes about the numerous inquiries his hedge fund made, in contrast to other investors in the blood testing startup.
Forex Live. November 16, 1817 America New York, U.S. President Biden says he will be naming the new Fed chair in about 4 days. Yesterday we had chatter about from the U.S. Congress that an announcement was imminent. I guess 4 days is imminent in a geological time frame but not for markets. Forex Live. November 16, 1807 America New York, Japan's government looking at revising capital gains tax rules next year. Japanese media, Jiji, says the LDP is considering thrashing out revisions to CGTR in the new year. This is part of efforts to address income inequality.
Wall Street Journal U.S. Business. November 16, 1805 America New York, Biden says Fed chair pick could be unveiled this week. The president is considering whether to reappoint Fed Chairman Jerome Powell when his 4-year term expires in February or to pick someone else. Wall Street Journal U.S. Business. November 16, 1805 America New York, Qualcomm shares rise to record high. The chip company received a boost from the stock market as chief executive Cristiano Amon detailed its ambitions beyond smartphones. Wall Street Journal U.S. Business. November 16, 1804 America New York, U.S. could be unable to pay its bills as soon as December 15, Yellen says. In a letter to Congress, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen urged lawmakers to act to raise or suspend the federal borrowing limit.
Forex Live. November 16, 1803 America New York. More again from Fed's Daily. Says has a strong bias to stick to the current planned taper pace. Mary Daly is President and Chief Executive Officer of the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco. Daly spoke earlier. More.
New York Times Business. November 16, 1802 America New York, Janet Yellen says U.S. could hit debt limit by December 15. The Treasury Secretary's letter comes weeks after she issued similar calls, before Congress temporarily raised the cap on borrowing. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen told Congress that the debt limit must be raised by October.
Daily FX Market News. November 16, 1800 American New York, New Zealand Dollar Technical Analysis, EUR, NZD, NZD, CAD, NZD, JPY. Multiple New Zealand dollar crosses look set for explosive moves out of flag formations. These are the technical setups that matter for EUR, NZD, NZD, CAD, NZD, JPY.
Forex Live. November 16, 1758 America New York. In case you missed it, Bank of Canada deputy says rate hike may not come as soon as expected. Deputy Governor of the Bank of Canada Lawrence Shembry spoke on Tuesday, in the following Q&A. A session he said on timing of a BOC rate hike. Shembry said knowing exactly when the output gap has closed is becoming more difficult.
Global Economy. November 16, 1742 America New York, First FT, U.S. and China to discuss nuclear arsenals. Plus, EV makers surpass incumbents and Iraqi women displaced by ISIS find new freedoms.
Forex Live. November 16, 1742 America New York. HK Media report that the U.S. wants China to join the U.S. in releasing oil reserves. South China Morning Post says Biden raised the issue in the summit with Xi yesterday. Biden is trying to drive gasoline prices lower, considering a release from the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve.
Wall Street Journal U.S. Business. November 16, 1740 America New York, Activision Blizzard employees demand CEO Bobby Kotick's resignation. The protest occurred after a WSJ report on the chief executive's handling of sexual misconduct issues at the video game company.